Hey guys, what's going on? Zach from All Strength Training. Want to show you guys a couple of different shoulder movements that you can do with just dumbbell work that you may have never seen or done before. So we're going to look at three things. We're going to break up the monotony of just your regular shoulder presses and regular lateral raises and rear lateral raises and front raises. All right, our first exercise is called a Gironda lateral swing. So Vince Gironda was one of the first personal trainers. He had a lot of movements that were really focused on very targeted areas of the body. So a little bit less focused on just putting on tissue overall and creating a little bit more shape. So this is going to be a little bit more of a targeted lateral raise variation. What you're essentially going to do, you'll use weights that are lighter than what you would use for a conventional lateral raise. Let's say you normally use 20s, you're probably going to only be down to around maybe 12s or 15s. So maybe what is that, 60-70% of your regular lateral raise weight. So when you have a weight in each hand, one hand is going to go out this way just like if you did a conventional lateral raise. The other side is going to drive up to put the side delt and front delt into a fully shortened position. So this arm is going to go this way. The other arm is going to go up and across the body. You're going to visualize it like your intention is to take this fist and press it toward that wall. As you do this, you're bringing the arm up so that the inside crease of your elbow is almost going to connect with your forehead. All right, so I'm internally rotating the shoulder. My thumb is going to point down. This is super important because if you don't rotate the thumb down, you're actually more likely to create elevation up through your trap. You're going to finish it not feeling anything in your shoulder. It's going to all end up dumping into your neck. So I want to bring one arm up and across. So this is allowing me to get this side delt and my front delt here into a much more contracted position than I can with your conventional raises. What we're going to do is just alternate left to right until we get our reps. So what you'll see is something to the effect of this. So I'm just going to drive this one up and across, bring it down, other side up and across. Okay, keep a pretty controlled tempo. You don't need to get super sloppy. We don't need to go ridiculously so, but don't throw the weights around. We want to be able to contract the side and front delt as we push those weights in the same direction. Personally with those, I like to keep the reps above 10. Otherwise, they tend to get a little bit too loose with the technique and you just can't focus as much on where you're supposed to feel it. So I would usually put maybe 3 sets of maybe like a 10 to 15 rep, alternating left to right until you get there. Great movement to finish a shoulder workout with. Our second shoulder exercise for today is called a compound lateral raise. So for this, I would probably use a weight even a little bit lighter than what you would use for the Gironda lateral swing. So if you normally use 20s, I'd probably take it down to maybe like an 8 or a 10. What you're going to need is an incline bench set up at roughly 30 or 40 degrees. This is a one-sided movement. You're going to be doing a blend of a lateral and rear lateral raise back to back. So this is going to be a one-sided lift. It's going to hit the rear delts and the lateral delts in the same set. So I'm going to grab my dumbbell. I'm going to angle myself sideways on the bench. I'm letting my armpit just tuck right up into the top of the bench. You can see with my feet, it really doesn't matter what I do with my feet. I just need them somewhere so I don't fall off this bench. I'm going to take my weight. It's going to start with the thumb down and I have the weight straight in front of my eyes. This first part is going to be the rear delt focus portion of the rep. So I'm going to take my weight, draw it straight up over my ear so I get the rear delt into a really stretched position. And then I'm slowly going to bring this dumbbell down toward my outer thigh. Now I don't want to keep the weight right back here in line with my hip. You'll end up pulling a little bit more with rotator cuff when you initiate the movement, or if the weight's too heavy, you may end up more pulling with the traps. So we're going to actually stay a little bit out in front just to keep the scapula in the back in more of a neutral position. So from here, now I'm working the side delt at the bottom end of the range. So this is usually where we're pretty weak. So now when I pull up, it's going to feel really heavy right here. As I get it up overhead, tension's going to drop off. And then I'm going to start loading the rear delts again. So I'm just going to go back and forth again. I'm here, draw it up, right over my ear, bring it right out over my thigh. The thumb is positioned slightly down. Whichever part of the shoulder you're trying to focus on, think about angling that part of the shoulder up toward the sky. So if I rotate my thumb down, it really points my side delt up this way. And then when I'm doing the rear lateral raise, by turning my thumb down, it really pushes the side or the rear delt up. So again, we're just gonna go up, control the way down, right back up. Every time that weight passes in front of your face, you finished your rep. Obviously, you'll want to do both sides. For something like this, because there's so much volume in a single rep, I would keep the reps a bit more moderate, maybe like 8 to 10 per side. All right, third new exercise for today. It's called the Serrano Press. Serrano Press is named after Dr. Eric Serrano from Columbus, Ohio. So this particular movement is really focused on posture and positioning. There's some external rotator cuff work in here. There's some side and rear delt, and there's even some scapula muscles, so lower and middle traps, and even some rhomboids. So the weights you're gonna use on this should be pretty light. If you normally do laterals with 20s, you're probably gonna use maybe like a 5 to 8 pound weight, especially as you're first learning how to do this. As your strength goes up, you're probably gonna adjust from there. What we're doing is I've got a bench set at about 60 degrees. I wanna bring my arms up like I'm about ready to do a regular overhead press this way. So when I look, if I'm holding a weight, the weight is directly over my elbow. My arm is not rotated in this way. So this is, again, using my external rotators. This is also using my scapula muscles to maintain this position. So if I have my weights, what I want to do then is just bring my chest into the bench and maintain this position. So as I'm here, I want to drive both weights up, trying my best to get my arms right next to my ear. And then when I come down, coming right back to this position. So we're not punching straight out this way, but we're trying to angle it up and out. You'll know if you're doing this right. If you can keep your chest on the bench, it's gonna keep you in the right position. Now, if your brain wants you to cheat, it's gonna try to arch your back. This just brings you more upright, which is gonna make the movement easier, but it's gonna take it away from how effective it is. So we don't need a lot. This can be done both arms at the same time, or you can add some extra challenge level by creating an alternating pattern. So you got kind of 3 choices here. We can go both arms together. We can keep one arm here and alternate press this way. Or if we want to make it really, really hard, I can keep one arm out this way while I alternate. So that way one side is essentially performing an isometric contraction. So I'm just going to show a couple with the conventional style, both arms together. These are only 5s. This is not a super heavy weight, but you'll notice how quickly the challenge level kicks in. So I get the weights up, again, like I'm going to shoulder press over my head, angle myself forward. I'm just driving up and out and trying to create as full of an extension as I can and trying to get my arm to get as close to level with my head as possible. It doesn't take a lot. I like reps maybe in the 8 to 12 range. You could go pretty light and really crank on the volume and take your reps up to maybe 15 or 20. But in general, I'd run in that kind of middle ground range. I think it works really well. So give all of these things a try, especially if you've been very repetitive with the types of shoulder work that you're doing. This will definitely mix things up. You'll get sore in a way that you haven't before. Try them out. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this video, make sure you like it and then subscribe to our channel and look forward to more of these videos.